guys, to the second edition. Hello, good evening.
Hey guys, welcome back. So, in today's video, we will be talking about relationships.
So, Sierra and I have had a few people ask us different advice on how to deal with different situations and how to just grow in your relationship, which of course we're growing every day in our relationship and over the past 8 years or so. And so every day is a journey, every day is something new. Um, and like I said, you learn as you go. But a few of the things that we've learned, which we want to share with you guys today, is the importance of commitment, the importance of contentment, and also the importance of being intentional in your relationship. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first point, the most important point to me is contentment. It's very, very important to really be content with your relationship, with your significant other, with your spouse, because especially in today's time and the way our generation is, everybody's looking for the next best thing, and they're looking for, something new, and they're looking for the hottest thing on the block. Um, um, it may be kind of a weak example, but like iPhones, everybody get a new iPhone. Next person, or your coworker gets the iPhone XR, and you got the 7 Plus, and you feel like you got to go get it, and but we can't do our relationships like that.
Yeah.
It's important to be content with your spouse or your significant other. And one thing that I've learned is that when you're truly content with your spouse, you see the value in your spouse, and because you value them, you will build them and you will invest in them. You'll see the importance of placing worth on them or in them, and helping them to do things to a greater degree, see themselves in a different way, or in a more positive way, and also to kind of like secure your spouse, or your significant other. A lot of times, people in relationships have insecurities, and I feel like it's my job to secure my wife in some things. If it is like her, whatever it is, like I can say the way she feels about her hair, or the way she feels about how she looks. It's my job to secure her in that.
Right.
So with that being said, I can't be constantly looking for something else that's better than what I have. There's nothing better than what I have, especially when I invest in it and build with what I have.
That's
That brings a greater uh, uh, worth to me. Uh, and of course, my wife is not an object, but that's just kind of like an example of being content with what you have.
That's so good. Quentin said something really good earlier and just made me think about when we first started dating. I was actually doing my own makeup, and I wasn't very good at it at the time, and so and so as time went on, I got better. But as time went on, Quentin shared with me that he really liked my natural appearance already. That makeup is just supposed to enhance your looks, and not necessarily make you look completely different. And so I started, of course, doing my makeup with a little less of it, and
'Cause she had permanent marker across her eyes.
and so he as time, like I said, as time went on, I got better at it, and he gave me his input on how he liked who I was already. It didn't The makeup didn't matter. The makeup is just supposed to be an enhancement and not something that defined me. And that just showed, that he was completely content with who I was and not what I had to appear to be or what I had to mimic or to dress myself up to be. Because he was content with who I was without the makeup. So I hope that you guys understand what I'm trying to say with that. And so contentment is basically satisfaction. You're satisfied with what you have and not, like he said, going to go look for the next best thing or the next hot thing that's out there. And so I also read this article about this man talking about being content with his wife, and how as his wife evolved over the years, she was becoming a different woman each stage in their marriage, meaning that she was growing, she was progressing. And that just makes me go back to talking about growing in a relationship. You have to be content with that person because you get to experience different levels of that one woman. In the same token, be experiencing different levels of this one man. And so I think that's so good.
One of the important things about that is contentment does not mean you stay in the same place, of course, like she just pointed out. There's a growth to contentment. You can always, there's always room for growth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times when we think about contentment, we think about, oh, it's cool the way it is. We don't want any change. We don't want anything different. But there's definitely stages and growth in contentment.
So the next key point is, what is it?
Commitment.
Commitment. And so with commitment, when you think about commitment, you think about, a lot of people think about marriage, of course, because you're committing the rest of your life with one person. And this is something that was brought to my attention, is that you can kind of see if a person is struggling with commitment based on the things that they have in their life. For example, if you see a person that is struggling committing to a job or committing to something that they've given their word to, if they are always not following through with whatever they've committed to, then 9 times out of 10 they'll have commitment, have problems committing to a person. You kind of see those signs with the things that they deal with in their daily life. And so
one thing I'll say about commitment is, like, it kind of piggybacks off of what we were saying about contentment. Whenever you and I was kind of talked about investing in a person, and as I invest, it's almost like a banker. When you invest in something, or whenever you invest your money into something, it's almost like you have a level of commitment to that thing, because you have an investment, you have something in it, you've put something in it. And a lot of times when you invest in something, there's benefits that you reap from it, or there's a return that you can get out of that. And so it's important to be committed to that, because if you're not committed to what you invest in, you won't be around to see the fruit of what you invested in, like the seeds that you planted. You won't be around to see the harvest, or even to sometimes to water the seeds that you've planted. Sometimes it's good, a lot of times, we just think about the seed, but the seed has to be watered, it has to be nurtured before it becomes a plant or a tree or something that bears fruit. And so, as you sow into your spouse, you have to stay committed to that, to the things that you're sowing, to see them come to fruition.
And so commitment is basically dedication. So is basically being dedicated to something. And so in everything that we do in life, anything that I've given my word to, if I've given my my word to something, or if I tell someone I'm going to do something, I'm going to dedicate myself to that, because that's, you know, I've given you my commitment. And so I just think it's imperative that when you are connecting with anything, relationship wise, whatever it is, when you are committed to it, give it your all. Don't be mediocre with it. Don't, you get what I'm saying? Don't play around with it. You know, especially if it's something that you see that it's worth investing in. It's something is worth putting your time in. Give it your all. You know, you never know what comes out of it when you continue to, like he said, nurture it and pour water into it. You get out what you put into it.
One thing about commitment is I've shared with people that you got to be somebody that's worth being committed to. You know, nobody is just gonna throw their money away or throw their time away or throw their efforts away. Nobody wants to do that. And so you got to really be the best you can be. Be somebody that's worth having, you know.
The third point that we're going to go to is
being intentional.
Being intentional. So, being intentional is
the third point. Being intentional. It's important to be intentional. Root word, intentions. Your intentions. Your plans. Planned.
Yes, so being intentional means to do something on purpose.
Yeah, with purpose.
Yep. You want to make sure you are doing it with the purpose, and not just to be doing it just because you're just going through the motion, or it's just something that you just want to do. Everything I feel like a person does, it should be done with the purpose. It shouldn't be something that's in vain. And so, truth be told, that's why a lot of people end up in relationships that they shouldn't be in. And let's just be honest, a lot of us have made poor decisions choosing the wrong people to connect with. And so you have to be intentional. You can tell by a person's a lot of times by the first date if a person is worth, you know, investing in. You can tell by conversation. The more time you spend with them, you can tell if this person is actually worth, you know what I'm saying, going forth with. Yeah. And so with that, like I said, you have to be intentional, and you need to do things on purpose. And that means if you're gonna choose somebody, be intentional and choose them based off of what they show you, because a lot of times the real them is shown right before you, and we try to ignore those things when they're right before us.
Yeah.
And so and then after that, then, you know, a lot of times we experience the hurt and everything else that comes with choosing things not on purpose.
Yeah.
So you suffer consequences by not doing things on purpose, you know. And so I get it, you know, none of us are perfect, but at the same time we have to be careful not to continue to go in cycles with different people. And we have to pay attention to the red signs, to the red flags that a person throws up.
Yep. So we have to be intentional about, like, even when it comes to like setting boundaries or setting like standards. Like, she could be shaped like a Coca-Cola bottle. But she got a nasty attitude.
Right.
I mean, it ain't no need in both of y'all having a nasty attitude.
Right.
Can you deal with a nasty attitude every day? From that Coca-Cola bottle?
That Coca-Cola bottle ain't worth it. Worth the misery.
It just comes. So you have to be intentional, you know, with being serious about what you want. You know.
Yeah.
Have a purpose. You know.
Yeah.
Whenever you are dating people or somebody, whenever you're dating somebody, you should know what you're looking for and kind of stick to what you're looking for.
Exactly.
And that doesn't mean you shoot everybody down because, you know, for whatever reason, but you need to kind of know what you're looking for, and you need to kind of stick to your guns, because that's what being intentional is. And the last thing you need to do is find yourself tangled up and tied up in a mess because you started off with something that you didn't want from the jump.
Yeah.
And now you're too far in to backpedal.
Right.
And you're unhappy. So.
Right. So that just goes without saying. Like, don't settle. Don't settle for anything. When you're being intentional about everything in your life, that means not settling. And people have told me and my husband before we met each other, you won't find this, you won't find that. Everybody cheats. Like, we weren't looking for a perfect person, because there's no such thing as a perfect person. But when you have, like you said, when you have standards, stick to it. You're bound to find that person. You're bound to find it, and it's someone out there for everyone.
Right.
And so choose a person on purpose and don't settle. Don't lower your standards because you've been single for so long. Don't do that, because that, I know being single sometimes, and single for a long period of time, can make you desperate, but don't become desperate, and don't settle, because you are worth it. You're worth the wait. You are worth a person treating you how you should be treated. And so this is just encouragement for you ladies, and even for the men, because there are men out there who are looking. With
all of that being said, we're not perfect.
Right.
I don't get it right every time. She doesn't get it right every time. But I just feel like she's worth me trying again. She's worth me trying harder, and vice versa.
Right.
And so, like, it's not that we get it right every time, but that's just a part of the process. It's a part of relationship. Sometimes relationship is one of the hardest things to deal with.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the greatest thing. Sometimes it's the most peaceful thing. Sometimes it's like there's the most friction. But that's what it calls for.
That's the beauty of it.
It's like you iron out the kinks. The friction irons out the kinks. You find out, okay, that's a do, that's a don't. You find out the do's and don'ts. You find out what works and what doesn't. And then you find out what helps to make you a better you, and your spouse a better spouse. You found out what makes them a better individual and grows them in ways as time goes on that you didn't know, when y'all started off. And that's just the beauty of it.
So guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. I know we have talked quite a bit, but I feel like this video is well needed. And so thank you guys again for tuning in, and thank you guys who have been really a great support. We appreciate you guys. And so if you are new, please be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can get notified for new upcoming videos. Anyways, guys, and be sure to like this video if you have enjoyed it. And Quentin and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.